What if you could record your final message for those that you love, only for it to be heard after you had passed away? That's exactly what Netflix did with their recent presentation, Famous Last Words, featuring Dr. Jane Goodall. Hi, Nancy Beauvair here with Agape and NEXsteps. I recently watched the Famous Last Words episode that Netflix had recorded with Dr. Jane Goodall. She knew that this was going to be recorded and it would only be shown after she had passed away. It was very interesting how they had structured everything to ensure that her message would remain secret until after she had passed away. She was in a studio with the interviewer, and there were 5 cameras. The cameras were all operated remotely, ensuring that none of the cameramen had any access to any of the audio. The interviewer asked his questions, which took up the bulk of the recording. But then, in the final moments, even the interviewer left the studio so that Dr. Jane Goodall could look into the camera and leave her message for the world, and knowing fully that it would only be heard after she had passed away. What a powerful thing to do. I talk a lot about legacy planning. I talk a lot about estate planning, and a lot of that is wrapped around making sure that you have your legal documents in place, that you have your will and your enduring power of attorney and your medical directive, making sure that you have covered your bases financially, that you've done appropriate tax planning so that you haven't placed a burden on your loved ones after you pass away, ensuring that the bulk of your estate will go as you intended to your heirs and beneficiaries instead of off to the government for taxes. But I also talk about the softer side. We all will have our grief. We all will have our memories of those that we love after they have passed away. And one of the things that I like to do is I encourage people and I help them to create what I call a legacy message, heirlooms of the heart. Just imagine the power and the impact that you can have, not just for your children and your grandchildren, but for generations after, by recording a letter, by recording a voice message, passing on your history, your story, your values, your thoughts, your wisdom for generations to come. That really is a true legacy. Everybody talks about receiving money, receiving assets, getting that heirloom, that ring, that watch. And those heirlooms are important, and the money can be a great help for your heirs and beneficiaries. But beyond that, imagine 20 years after somebody you love has passed away and listening to their voice, hearing them speak to you from beyond the grave, sharing stories with you. How powerful that is. We're not all going to have that global audience. We're not all famous. We haven't had an impact globally on what societies think and what they've learned. Dr. Jane Goodall was the first person living with the chimps who showed that the chimps actually use tools to show their social structure. That was a big step forward in understanding the evolution of our species. Of course, we're unlikely to do that. But your grandchild or your great grandchild, I'm sure, would value hearing a message from you after you've passed away. It's like they can hold you in their heart again. Hearing your voice will stimulate memories. So we're not all going to have that same impact. We're not all going to solve future problems that are going to have an impact on the whole world, but you can have an impact on those that you love. As always, I've got an article on the website that talks in more detail about this whole idea of leaving a legacy, the heirlooms of the heart. I'd like to invite you to go over there. I've got a link in the description box here, and take a read. If you find it useful, think about doing it yourself. If you don't know where to start, if you want a little bit of guidance, it's something that I can help you with. It's a service that I offer. I'm a certified executor advisor, and as such, I help people with their estate planning and I help them with their estate administration when the time comes. But I also help with that softer side. I help ensure that your legacy is going to live on, whether that is through your estate plan, whether that is helping you create a legacy message. Why not think about it? You can start today. Thanks very much for joining me today. I look forward to sharing more with you again. Bye for now.